All right, welcome to another episode of the Motivational Intelligence Podcast, the show where we help current and aspiring executives unlock new ways of thinking and new ways of living that enables you to elevate your leadership presence, reclaim more of your time, and build the reputation and financial freedom you need to build the life you want. Today, we're exploring a really timeless question, which is, what makes a truly great leader? So we're breaking down the 8 most powerful leadership traits that separate great leaders from average leaders. Now, these traits aren't just about commanding respect, they're about inspiring action, building trust, and driving meaningful results. So by the end of this episode, you'll not only understand these traits, but you'll also have some actionable insights to develop them in yourself and your organization. So let's jump in. This is the Motivational Intelligence Podcast, your go-to resource for creating something extraordinary at work and at home. And with insights from 34 years of leadership coaching and training, we're here to help you think strategically, lead effectively, and live with greater purpose. I'm your host, Sean Johnson, and as a coach to executives and teams at some of the world's most successful companies, I've seen firsthand how these leadership traits can transform leaders and the people that they serve. This podcast is brought to you by 2Logical, a global top 20 training firm and the world leader in motivational intelligence development. We partner with leading executives to build the #1 talent pool in their industry. We've worked with over 40% of the Fortune 500 in 97 countries worldwide, and maybe we'll work with you next. To try our world-renowned executive coaching service for free, start a free trial of Mojo at joinmojo.com/trial. That's joinmojo.com/trial. You'll get unlimited access to the Mojo platform, custom onboarding, and 2 live coaching sessions free of charge. So, if you want to unlock even greater leadership presence and executive effectiveness, reclaim more of your time, and really build something special, get started with your free trial today at joinmojo.com/trial. That's joinmojo.com/trial.
And the more I studied it, the more I began to see that that was the overwhelming commonality of the most successful people that I ever met.
And just the empowerment of the conversations, how it just really motivates you. You don't come across people that impact you that way.
Because a lot of people could say to me, oh yeah, no, I get it. But yet they really don't get it.
This, if you really lean into it, can be life-changing.
Mojo's is part of our DNA and what we do during team meetings.
And I just looked at Randy like, oh my God.
I feel like that's made a lot of impact in my direct report's life because they're not afraid to talk to me.
But I started to see what this gentleman said in the podcast. And I was like, it was just kind of surreal because it was almost like he foreshadowed what I was going to be up against that week.
They would come in every week and ask me, Paul, how far would you like to get? That's when I told them 105%. And they laughed and I said, no, 105% is where I'm going to be.
I think that concept is one that everybody can buy into, and saying that I can improve 1% from yesterday.
An unstoppable state of mind that enables you and I to achieve everything that we want out of our professional and our personal life.
So I've been really excited about this conversation. And I want to start in really the most important place, which is, why do leadership traits matter? Why do some leaders inspire unwavering loyalty while others struggle to gain trust, even if they have impressive credentials, impressive experience, they have a good resume? And so the answer lies not in their authority or their title, but in their traits. And this is very much why leadership is not about the title that you have, but it's about the traits that you embody, the person that you are, the enduring qualities that define our behavior, our decisions, and our relationships. At its core, leadership is about influence. It's the ability to inspire people to follow you, to work with you, to commit to a shared vision. And so leadership traits form the foundation of that influence. Because without honesty, there's no trust. And without trust, our influence collapses. Without focus, even our most basic goals become unreachable. And without a commitment to other people's success, people are going to disengage. They're going to sense that they're being used instead of valued. So think about this. Would you follow somebody that lacks confidence in their decisions? Or would you trust a leader that avoids taking responsibility? Great leadership traits don't just attract followers, they compel action, even in the face of adversity. One of the things that my mentor's mentor always used to say to him is that you have to treat people so well, you have to invest in them so much that they'll do what they need to do even when you're not there because they don't want to let you down. And that's really what being a great leader is. And this is really what separates leaders from managers, because the world is full of managers. There's no shortage of managers in the world of people that tell us what to do and how to do it. But the world is woefully lacking in true leaders. And so while managers rely on authority to enforce compliance, what leaders do is they inspire action through respect and through trust. And that's what differentiates them. Whereas managers direct tasks, leaders inspire with a purpose. Whereas managers might enforce rules, leaders embody values. Whereas managers build processes, leaders build people. Leadership traits are the differentiator that makes people follow someone willingly, even when they don't have an obligation to. And when we use these leadership traits, they don't just impact individuals, they don't just impact us, they don't just impact the people on our team, but they ripple outward. They affect other teams, other organizations, even entire industries. Because teams mirror their leaders. If you lead with honesty, you lead with integrity, you lead with professionalism, your team is going to adopt those values if you lead by example. But if you lack those traits, they're going to follow you just as well, and that's going to create a lot of dysfunction. You don't want a team that's not honest, that doesn't move with integrity, that doesn't move with professionalism. But it all starts with us. Great leaders take on that responsibility themselves. It starts with us. Organizational culture flows from leadership. Leaders with strong traits, they build high-performing cultures where innovation, where trust, where collaboration can really thrive. And people without those traits, leaders without those traits, they're the ones that create those toxic work environments that we all hear about and nobody wants to be a part of. And here's the thing, we don't have to be perfect. There was many things that were flawed about somebody like a Steve Jobs. He wasn't a perfect leader. But he had some leadership traits of focus, of commitment to innovation that really set the tone for Apple to become one of the most valuable, innovative companies in the world. He set the tone for that organization. And that's what we can do as leaders for our team, for our organization, for our industry. And if we've learned anything in the last couple of years, it's that leadership isn't tested during the calm waters. Anybody can lead when everything is all hunky-dory. Leadership is really tested in the storms. That's where we figure out what real leaders are made of. And traits like confidence, like focus, like integrity become even more critical in those moments of time, in those moments of uncertainty. In crises, confidence from a leader can instill a sense of calm and determination in the team. In uncertainty, focus can keep a team aligned on what matters most. In ethical dilemmas, integrity can ensure decisions are guided by principles and not by pressure. During the 2008 financial crisis, Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, demonstrated a great focus and a willingness to invest in others. And instead of panicking and cutting corners, he doubled down on employee benefits and on customer experience, and he rebuilt Starbucks' reputation and along the way, their financial health. The leadership traits we're going to talk about today transcend industries, they transcend cultures, they transcend generations. And while technology and business strategies evolve, the qualities that inspire trust and loyalty remain unchanged. People are people, and they always will be. Honesty mattered as much to George Washington's soldiers as it does to today's corporate teams. Focus drove the success of Margaret Thatcher's political vision just as much as it did Jeff Bezos' e-commerce empire. Investing in others is as impactful for a coach developing athletes as it is for an executive mentoring rising leaders and high potentials. The consistency of these traits across history proves their enduring value, and that's why they're so important. Because with these leadership traits, ultimately, this is what's going to define the legacy that you leave behind. Right? Titles fade, but how you treat people, the values you uphold, the impact you create, that all endures. There's the famous Nelson Mandela quote, "People won't remember what you said, they won't remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel." Great leaders are remembered not for their authority, but for their integrity, for the lives they touched, the lives they changed. Mediocre leaders are forgotten. Or maybe even worse, they're remembered, but they're remembered for the damage they caused. As leaders, we have the ability to make that kind of an impact, to leave that kind of a legacy. I mentioned Nelson Mandela. He had an incredible commitment to integrity and to reconciliation that it didn't just heal that nation. It created a global legacy of hope, of justice. And you contrast that with leaders who are dishonest or self-interested. Who are people going to remember more? So if we really want to do something special, we want to be the best in our field, we really want to make an impact, we really want to make a difference, we really want to leave a legacy, the leadership traits we're talking about today are not nice to haves. They're not optional. They're the very essence of leadership. Because without them, you can't build trust. You can't inspire action. You can't sustain success. So they're not just important, they're indispensable. One of the things we do when we travel around the country is we do this kind of informal survey. And we'll ask people, how many people in here, show of hands, how many people in here have ever had a really great leader in their life? Somebody that made a real difference to you. Could have been a manager, a coach, teacher, after-school mentor, parent, family, friend. And in a room of 100 people, only a couple hands typically go up, which in and of itself is a travesty. But when they raise their hand and say, yeah, I have had a special leader in my life, we always ask them a couple questions. First, we say, how long has it been since you've worked with this person or seen this person on a regular basis? And sometimes it's been a couple months. Sometimes it's been a couple years. Sometimes it's been a couple decades. We always ask a follow-up question. If this person called you up today, would you take their call? And they always immediately say, yeah, of course. We say, if they ask you for a personal favor, would you help them? And regardless of the last time that they talked to them, without skipping a beat, they always say, absolutely. And we say, why? And they say, because they helped me. They helped me see things for my life, my career that I didn't think were possible. They saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. They helped me believe in me. They pushed me to get better. So as you're listening to this, I want you to think about the leaders who've inspired you the most. What made them memorable? And in the process, think about your own leadership. As we're going through these traits, which of these do you already embody? And where can you grow? How can you get better? So let's dive in and break these down one by one. And we'll give you some real-world examples and actionable tips for developing each of these traits. These are the 8 most powerful leadership traits. The first is honesty. Right, so honesty is the foundation of trust. And without it, leadership and our influence collapses because they don't trust anything we're saying. They're not going to listen to what it is that we want them to do. If our team doesn't trust us, they're not going to follow us. Period. I mean, think of an executive who consistently delivers bad news transparently, but with empathy. And a lot of times delivering bad news is where a lot of this trust is built. Their honesty builds credibility, even in and especially in those tough times. So for yourself, ask yourself, do I consistently communicate the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's difficult? Do my team members feel like they can rely on my word? Have I avoided withholding critical information that my team needs to succeed? In difficult situations, focus on transparency. Instead of dodging questions, explain what you can, and where you can't, explain why those details might need to remain confidential. So that's trait 1, honesty. Trait 2 is integrity. So integrity is going beyond honesty. It's beyond transparency. It's about aligning your actions with your words and your values. And this matters because leaders with integrity inspire loyalty and respect by modeling the behavior they expect from others. This is about leading with example. A leader who enforces ethical practices, even at the cost of short-term gains, demonstrates integrity. Right? It's doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And people aren't stupid. When we say one thing and we do another, they're going to sniff that out. So when it comes to integrity, ask yourself, do I consistently model the values that I expect from my team? Am I willing to admit my mistakes and take responsibility for them? Defacing ourselves can be a really powerful leadership tactic. Do I hold myself to the same or even higher standards that I hold to my team? If you want to improve here, define the standards you expect from your team and then live up to them consistently. If you make a mistake, own it publicly. Reinforce that accountability. Trait number 3 is confidence. And this is so important because confidence is contagious. Leaders who project belief in themselves, belief in their mission, belief in their team, inspire other people to do the same. And this matters because doubt spreads quickly. If you don't believe in the team's ability to achieve its goals, neither are they. It is the unwavering confidence in the cause, in the mission, in the goal, in the vision that caused people to rally behind it. Martin Luther King Jr.'s unwavering confidence in his civil rights cause is what rallied millions to believe in the vision, believe it was possible. So when it comes to confidence, think about, do I project confidence in my team's ability to achieve our goals? Am I able to make tough decisions without second guessing myself in front of my team? Do I remain calm and composed when challenges arise? And the biggest way you can improve your confidence is preparation. Before addressing your team, rehearse the key points to ensure that your delivery conveys certainty, even if challenges arise. In clutch moments, players like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant all echoed the same thing. They all seem to have this kind of cold-blooded approach when the game was on the line. And they both said the same thing. They both said, I've never got nervous because I've taken this shot so many times before that I know I can make it. It's the preparation that keeps us calm and confident. Trait number 4 is commitment to group goals. So great leaders unify their teams around shared objectives. When leaders are deeply committed to the mission, it motivates others to align their efforts and persevere through obstacles. So leaders like Gandhi never wavered in their focus of their long-term goals and the group's long-term goals. And that, again, is what inspired people around them to follow suit. So in evaluating your commitment to group goals, ask yourself, do I consistently communicate the importance of our group's goals? Am I unwavering in my support for the team's objectives even during setbacks, even during challenges? Do I recognize and celebrate progress towards those goals? Now, there's a famous saying that you need to talk about the vision 10 times more than you think you do. You need to revisit the goals and talk about them regularly, reiterate them regularly. Trait number 5 is interpersonal relationships. Treating people with respect, regardless of rank or circumstance, is a hallmark of great leadership. Treat the janitor with the same respect as you treat the CEO. And this really matters because strong relationships are going to foster collaboration and trust, especially during conflicts. So a leader who diffuses tension with respect and with empathy, they set the tone for the culture for the team. So ask yourself, am I treating all the team members, regardless of rank, with the same respect that I want to be treated? Am I approachable and empathetic when team members bring concerns to me, or am I dismissive? Do I handle interpersonal conflicts with professionalism and tact? When you run into interpersonal challenges, practice active listening, respond with empathy, even if this is difficult. Trait 6 is professionalism. Leaders who exhibit professionalism, they command respect, and they set a standard for their teams about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And this professionalism really builds the credibility. It builds a culture of excellence. From punctuality to communication style, all of these small actions reinforce your authority and your dependability. And they ripple into the other people on your team. So for example, leader that starts and ends meetings on time demonstrates a respect for other people's schedules. So when evaluating your own professionalism, ask yourself, do I consistently meet deadlines and follow through on commitments? Do I maintain composure and professionalism even in high-stakes, high-pressure scenarios? Do I set a positive example for my team in terms of communication, in terms of appearance, in terms of work ethic? Audit your professional habits. Are you modeling the behavior that you expect and that you want from your team? Trait number 7 is focus. The ability to maintain laser-like focus on key objectives is one of the things that separates great leaders from mediocre ones. Distractions and competing priorities can really derail progress, and we have more of those nowadays than we probably know what to do with. A focused leader keeps their team aligned and on track. So in evaluating your focus, ask yourself, do I consistently focus on high-impact tasks, high-payoff activities, rather than being pulled into low-priority distractions? Am I consistently making progress, or am I constantly fighting fires? Am I clear about the team's goals, and am I able to articulate them without hesitation, without having to think about it? Do I avoid procrastination? Am I more proactive than reactive? Do I maintain discipline in pursuing the objectives that we've set as a team? And the simplest way to focus is use written goals. Write down your goals. It's going to maintain the clarity, revisit them weekly, and ensure your actions align with the long-term priorities. Trait number 8 is a willingness to genuinely invest in others. And this might be the most important one. True leaders lift other people up. They coach, they mentor, they celebrate their team's successes. And investing is not only what builds loyalty and trust, but it also builds the capabilities of your team, the capabilities of the organization, a pipeline for future leaders. And so a leader that dedicates time to mentoring their team is not only improving the individual performance of each of those employees, but they're strengthening the whole team. This is really where the whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts. And so ask yourself, do I regularly provide constructive feedback and coaching to my team? Am I doing this consistently enough? Have I created opportunities for team members to develop new skills and advance their careers? Do I celebrate and acknowledge the success of others? And an easy way to do this is make sure you dedicate at least 1 hour a week to coaching and mentoring a team member. Ask them, what do you want out of your life? What skills do you want to develop? How can I support you? So those are the 8 most powerful leadership traits for executives that really want to build something special. And again, these traits aren't just concepts, they're daily practices, they're habits. They are the keys to maximizing your influence on your people and the results of your team. And between you and me, these traits are the secret to becoming a leader that people never forget. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Motivational Intelligence Podcast. Remember, leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about striving to embody these traits every day and inspiring others to do the same. If you found this episode valuable, share it with your network, leave us a review, and join us next week for more actionable insights to elevate your executive effectiveness and your leadership presence. This podcast is brought to you by 2Logical, a global top 20 training firm and the world leader in motivational intelligence development. We partner with leading executives to build the #1 talent pool in their industry. We've worked with over 40% of the Fortune 500 in 97 countries worldwide, and maybe we'll work with you next. To try our world-renowned executive coaching service for free, start a free trial of Mojo at joinmojo.com/trial. That's joinmojo.com/trial. You'll get unlimited access to the Mojo platform, custom onboarding, and 2 live coaching sessions free of charge. So, if you want to unlock even greater leadership presence and executive effectiveness, reclaim more of your time, and really build something special, get started with your free trial today at joinmojo.com/trial. That's joinmojo.com/trial.
And the more I studied it, the more I began to see that that was the overwhelming commonality of the most successful people that I ever met.
And just the empowerment of the conversations, how it just really motivates you. You don't come across people that impact you that way.
Because a lot of people could say to me, oh yeah, no, I get it. But yet they really don't get it.
This, if you really lean into it, can be life-changing.
Mojo's is part of our DNA and what we do during team meetings.
And I just looked at Randy like, oh my God.
I feel like that's made a lot of impact in my direct report's life because they're not afraid to talk to me.
But I started to see what this gentleman said in the podcast. And I was like, it was just kind of surreal because it was almost like he foreshadowed what I was going to be up against that week.
They would come in every week and ask me, Paul, how far would you like to get? That's when I told them 105%. And they laughed and I said, no, 105% is where I'm going to be.
I think that concept is one that everybody can buy into, and saying that I can improve 1% from yesterday.
An unstoppable state of mind that enables you and I to achieve everything that we want out of our professional and our personal life.